Hi, I'm MNC Senior Editor Michael Shapiro here in our satellite office. As part of our report on compact system cameras, we took a look at the Olympus Pen EP-L2. Now, the Pen family of cameras is Olympus's contribution to the relatively new style of small, light cameras that take interchangeable lenses. Like all of the interchangeable lens cameras we discussed in the September issue, this camera is very light, and while it's not pocketable, it's much easier to carry to conferences and site visits than a traditional DSLR camera would be. Despite the fairly broad focal length range of the zoom that's on the camera right now, this is a 14 to 42 millimeter zoom, which is equivalent to 28 to 84 in traditional photography terms. The lens is pretty light. It's relatively small for such a broad range. Now, one way they managed to keep it small was to make the lens slightly collapsible. It doesn't collapse all the way, of course. This is the collapsed version, but when you're traveling, it sits like this. When you're ready to shoot, you simply turn the lens and it unlocks. Now it's ready to shoot. You can see this is slightly more obtrusive than before, but it's a very nice feature to keep the lens small for travel by collapsing it like that. Now the camera is really a pleasure to use, and the layout's pretty straightforward, especially if you're accustomed to DSLR cameras or traditional film cameras. There is a mode dial on top. You can set the mode. You shouldn't be intimidated if you're a novice who doesn't want to set the mode. There is a mode called iAuto, which is quite accurate, really, and the camera decides all of the settings for you. For anyone who has a little bit more experience, you can set aperture priority, programmed auto exposure, shutter priority, even a manual mode. In addition to some other art modes, you can even shoot HD video with this camera at 720p. Now you can select that either on the mode dial on the top or by using this specially dedicated shutter on the back just to shoot video. It's a great feature to have. You can shoot video without setting anything else. I didn't love the placement of this button as I accidentally pressed it a couple of times, but it's still, overall, it's a great feature to have on the camera. Image quality was excellent for the camera. Really appreciated the images that came out of there. The only quibble I have with the camera is a slight lag in autofocusing speed. This isn't very noticeable if you're shooting sites, if you're shooting locations. If you're shooting, say, a very active 2-year-old, it's a little bit more noticeable. As of August, Olympus was selling this camera for about $600 with the lens you see attached here. You could also get it as part of a double lens kit for $800 if you wanted a more telephoto lens to accompany this one. I expect those prices to come down by the time you see this, as Olympus has announced some new models that will also be out and sold alongside this one. So check it out, and if you'd like to learn more about these compact system cameras, see our full article in the September issue of Meetings and Conventions.